Hey, good morning, guys. I'm on my way to work, of course, and what time? It's like 50 degrees already. It's 50 degrees, so it's pretty cool. And I wanted to talk about, just another, segment of the King and Queen series on just who we are, and just our. I'm assuming your goal is to get better and better in life in all areas. But in order to do that, we have to acknowledge parts in our story where we get stuck, you know. And I kind of thought about this because I'm going to the cabin tomorrow, and I just needed to change the scenery because I was getting stuck in the story that I'm writing and the book that I'm working on, the mystery thriller that I'm really I'm loving the story, but I've gotten stuck. And a lot of us seem to get stuck in our own personal story where we keep doing this loop in our life that is not prospering, not getting ahead. In fact, it's become redundant, routine, um, and frustrating. Especially if we want some things in our life, and when people come to me for counseling, one of the main things that I try to do is give them a change in perspective to see their situation, their life from a different angle. And that's hard. That's hard for a lot of people because the problem with routine is because it's become our normal. It's become something that we're extremely familiar with. And so even though our conscious, our brain, our common sense is saying, yo, dog, you keep doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working. Our knee jerk reaction to stress is to do the same thing over again, even though we know in our mind that it's not going to work. And that's a problem. So when you're stuck in your story, it's necessary that we get a change of routine, a change of perspective. And some of the easiest ways for me, like, physically, is I'm gonna go to the cabin, because you guys know I love the woods. I love the woods, man. And I'm gonna go to the cabin and get the campfire going, and I'm bringing my propane heater so I can ride outside on the enclosed porch. Just being exposed to nothing but the beauty and the creation of what God has done, and I love that, and it just really helps me just really center myself, and a lot of us are so busy reacting to the world that we don't take the time to get centered. I remember I was reading about, um, and I forget who it was, but it was somebody I really had admired. That's sad that I forget. Um, but he would once a year go away to the monastery because it was where he would really get his quiet alone time just to really get himself grounded again. Because life is hectic. I mean, if I don't know if any of y'all knew that life can be hectic, and if we focus on, if all of our focus is outward and not inward, um, we will spend the rest of our days reacting to situations instead of learning to internalize and center ourselves so we can handle things that may come. um, did that make sense? Let me put it like this. Okay, so like in the mornings, I listen to, like this morning I listened to Steve Furtick, and he was talking about different problems that we may face, and the big problems and the little problems that we need to let go, and just having trust, and not reacting to fear. and I don't know if you guys have ever listened to him, but he's an incredible pastor that acknowledges his battles with anxiety, which is huge because I love when I see leaders lead through their own vulnerability. So I try to model that, because I think it's more authentic and more relatable when people can see that you're still working your program like everybody else. So you know in regards to that, when we're stuck in our story, when we're stuck in our program, sometimes we need to change our meeting place. Sometimes we need to change our routine. Often, if I get stuck, and Sue's great for this, and I love working out with her, but she will change my routine, you know, and, you know, and I don't want to change it because my body's gotten used to whatever we were doing. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I got this. And as soon as I think I got this, we change it up. We were in boxing last night, Demont. We were hitting with the mitts, and it's really cool because we have new people and old people, and so I'm watching the routine he's doing with everybody else. But then when he gets to me, he changes it up. Now he had changed it up with P earlier, but P's like a professional boxer practically. I'm just a guy, and he changed it up on me, and I loved it and hated it at the same time because I was prepared for something else. But what it taught me was to be flexible. And him and Brandon will often tell me to relax when I'm boxing because I'm too tight, I'm too focused, and I need to be relaxed so I can adapt. And some of us are so stiff, so dry, so stuck that we're not flexible to adapt to learning something new. And mind you, it don't matter how old we are, okay? What the problem is our level of our as my mom would say, hard headedness. And it's like breaking up concrete sometimes. But if the person isn't willing to allow themselves to break that stagnant, stiff mental muscle memory that refuses to learn something new, they will die stuck in their story. Their story will stop right there, and they're never gonna grow. And that's the danger of this. I think the greatest, beyond depression, beyond addiction, beyond anxiety, beyond all the other issues that we may face, mentally, physically, all those things. The greatest problem that we deal with today is our own inability to learn something new. And that could be because of fear, that could be because of bitterness, that could be because of an assortment of things. But if you refuse to learn something new, you will die stuck in your story. And that's a fact, okay? No one's going to rescue you from yourself. So I'm just encouraging you guys, And mind you, if you're stuck because you can look at the results of your life, take the last 3 months and identify what has really changed for the better in your life. What's really changed? What are you doing different? Sometimes people will adopt the simulation of change in learning, but it's not real. It's not real. They're only changing surface things to look like they're working on something, but really it's just to fool everybody around them because if you look at the fruit, if you look at the results of their life, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see there is little to no change going on. You can change this, and this, and this over here, but the core changes that you need to make have not moved one iota. And that's why you're not getting what you really want in life. Some people want a better relationship, but until you take a look at yourself and why things are still the same, that relationship is not going to move. Some people want to have better health, but until you take a look at yourself and what you're not doing and why, it's not just the fact that you're not eating right. We have to get to the question of, why aren't you eating right? What is what's the stronghold? What's the hold that what hold does cheesecake really have on you emotionally? I know we call it comfort food, but why is it so comforting? I'm talking to myself. I mean, those kind of things. So anything that you're really trying to make a difference in your life, because I tell you, once you start changing things in your life at your core, it will affect the environment around you. But I tell you this now, let me warn you, core changes are uncomfortable. And that's an understatement. Okay. Core changes are extremely painful and rewarding. So, in dealing, like when I'm going to the cabin, I'm gonna spend a lot of time, praying and getting down to my Bible study and writing, because I need that alone time. I need that alone time. And the last time I went to the cabin, it was amazing for me because you know I really don't like to be alone, but I've learned to love it because I've learned to make peace with myself. I've learned to appreciate myself, to listen to my own thoughts and the thoughts that maybe God might be sending me. I've learned to really take time and not be afraid of it, but to embrace it. But until I decided to accept that I'm going to walk alone sometimes, I always avoided it, and I always had to have people around me, and I always had to be talking to somebody, and because I was afraid, and then when I was alone, I would distract myself with food, any slight moment when I felt lonely, I was eating donuts or whatever to compensate for the fear, bitterness, and just anguish I would feel. But I had to really take time to take a look at that. Okay, why am I doing that? What am I afraid of? What's wrong with me that I can't spend time alone with myself and be cool? So I'm just encouraging you guys, if you're stuck, if you're stuck in your story, I'm encouraging you to change your routine so you can change your perspective and embrace learning something new. Okay? I love you guys. I love you guys. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.